Now you should have a screen like this. If not, if it doesn't appear like this, and it looks like that, click Timeline, because you want to be working in the timeline indicator, not the scene line. This is your basic editing window. Time flows from left to right. The numbers are in hours, minutes, seconds, and split seconds. To control how much time you see on the screen, use the Time Zoom tool. Left zooms out, right zooms into time. Zooming out gives you an overview, zooming in gives you precise control. We're going to start by adding a title. So, title, new title, and default still. A roll will go up the screen like ending credits on a film, and a crawl goes like a news banner across the bottom of a news program. But for now, default still. The Organize window will now change to the Edit window, and has listed the things that can be changed for your text. The text is highlighted by default, so either press delete or type something in. Now text is a little bit dull to begin with, so you can change one of the text styles to one of the presets. There's plenty to choose from. If you want to change the size of the text, click and hold on Change Text Size on the numbers, and either move right or up to increase, left or down to decrease. Centralize your text with itself, and then center it to the middle of the screen by either using the Selection tool and guessing, or using these two tools here, Vertical Center and Horizontal Center. And that will put it in the exact middle of your screen. When you're happy, click Done. Now your title is on the timeline. If it's not at the very beginning, move it across to the beginning like this. Click and hold on the clip, but not on the yellow bar, and drag it to the left. Then release the mouse. If you hover the mouse over the end of the clip, you'll see the red braces appear. The red braces allow you to stretch any clip out, or shrink it down. Move your time indicator to 6 seconds in, close enough to 6 seconds, and then use the red brace to take the title clip down to 6 seconds. If you have difficulty, zoom in or out. Add another title if required, but try and keep the style the same. Add as many titles as you need for the beginning, but also create your end credits while you're here. Move the time indicator further across to the right, title, new title, and default still. If you want to alter individual lines of text, highlight them and then change them individually. Put any titles that belong at the start on the left and move all the others far to the right. Check to see if snapping is on. Move a clip close to the start, and if it snaps into place, you know that snapping's on. If it doesn't snap into place and just rolls over, snapping isn't on, and you need to press the letter S. Snap it into place onto the end of the first clip, and you'll have a seamless transition. You should have something like this: start credits, end credits, and a big gap in between. Click on the browser window and open up the Tandem DVDs, master files, and music library. Select any of the music tracks you want, and then drag and drop into Elements. The blue speaker icons are music files only, or audio tracks only. If you haven't got the details underneath them, click the Details tick box. Drag your first piece of music into place on the soundtrack layer. Add the second piece and then the third. The audio clips are unlikely to be balanced in volume, so normalize each one by right-clicking the clip and selecting Audio Gain and then Normalize. The program will assess the rest of the audio on your project and increase or decrease the volume on the corresponding clip. Click OK. Do the same for your next clip and then your final clip. This is almost a completed template, so save it now if you haven't already done so. Now you need some real footage from an actual full video, interview, filler footage and the jump and landing. Drag and drop the video footage into the organizer window using the same method as for the sound files. If you know there are clips you don't want, delete them now. Select the first clip and press Ctrl A. That will select all. If they're in the incorrect order, change the newest first to oldest first. Drag and drop them into the timeline. Make sure the clips snap against the end of the last introduction title. You probably have more music than you do filmed footage, so you'll want to move your audio into a more appropriate place. Firstly, you have to get rid of any unwanted audio. Zoom in and then select every clip except for the start and end, so the two interviews are the only two pieces of audio you want to keep. Select everything in between, right-click and say Delete Audio. Go back to the interview clip at the start, using the red timeline marker as a guide. As the interview starts, you want the sound from the music layer to fade out. Hover your mouse over the yellow line and press the Control key on the keyboard. Place two markers. On the second marker, drag it all the way down. As time flows along, the music will fade out. Right-click on the interview clip, select Fade and Fade in Audio and Video. Elements will automatically put fade markers in for you. At the end of the clip, when the interview finishes, hold the Control key on the sound layer on the audio track and place two more markers. On the second one, move it up until your decibel counter reaches 0.0 or as close to it as you can get. You can, if you want, fade the audio on the interview out. It takes patience and practice to get the markers in the right place, and it also depends on how zoomed in or out of time you are. To see what you've done, place the timeline indicator marker before the position you want to see and press space to preview it. As freefall time approaches, you want your next song to start. Move the second song into position on the audio line above or below the soundtrack layer. Use the Control key and the mouse clicks to fade the tracks in and out as you see fit. Use the spacebar to preview what you've done. Move the landing clip to the right out of the way. Select the Skydive clip and press Ctrl and the letter C. This will copy it. Alternatively, click Edit and Copy once your clip is selected. Ensure the timeline marker is to the right of the clip and that there is ample space to paste. Edit, Paste, or Ctrl+V. Trim this clip using the red braces. And then snap it into place. It's currently normal speed, so right click and select Time Stretch. Change the speed down to 50% and press Enter. Using the same technique as for fades to audio, press the Control key and create 2 diamond markers on the footage, 2 at the end of the normal clip and 2 at the beginning of the slow motion. It may help you to zoom in. Drag the ends of each one down so that you create a fade at the end and the fade at the beginning. So that you create a fade at the end of the fast motion and a fade at the beginning of the slow motion. Press space to preview. Use the red brace tool to drag any excess audio out of the way. Snap it to the end of your normal speed. Using the same techniques as before, press Ctrl, add 2 markers, and drag the second one down so that the audio fades out. Move your third track into place at the beginning of the slow motion. Next, same as before, 2 markers, fade out the slow motion, and then snap the landing into place. Because the landing is a complete clip, right click, fade, fade in audio and video, and do the same, fade, but fade out audio and video as well. Elements is put fade in on both the audio and video at the beginning and fades out at the end. Bring your audio back and find that title clip that you left at the end earlier. Stick the title clip onto the end and drag your audio back. Fade your title out and do a long fade on your audio. The final thing to do now is to adjust the soundtrack layer so that you can hear what the person is saying after they've landed. Move to the point at which they land and place a marker on the film piece of audio. Take this marker and drag it along so that it now fades in at this point here. On the soundtrack beneath it, place a marker in roughly the same place and then fade it out. Move along to the end, place 2 more markers, so as the interview ends, the music fades back up. Again, try and hit 0.0 decibel, or as close to it. Finally, save the project as Tandem Master 2. As a test, place a DVD into the drive, click the Share, Disk, and then Burn. If it pops up a status error, there's no disk in the drive or it doesn't recognize it. Put a new disk in and hit Rescan. Test the video in a DVD player. If you get horizontal lines during playback, especially on the slow motion or the fast moving objects like propellers, there's likely been a settings mismatch. A quick fix can often be right-clicking the major clips, such as the interviews, landings and the freefalls, right-click, Field Options, and then always deinterlace. That should remove any of the horizontal lines. Burn a new disk and test again.